Hey everyone, welcome back to Alt Perspective. My name is Tim. If you've never joined us before, if you have, we welcome you. Isaac didn't do a proper intro, so I'm here to intro the pod this week. But then it's going to go into an interview with Pastor Yuriy, one of our local pastors, and Mom, aka Christy Russell, aka our pastoral presence, and Isaac. They'll be conducting the interview while I sit in the background and produce the show. So I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and please enjoy the pod.
If you can't tell, you can tell. I am not Tim, but I'm bald and I have a beard. Today we you like that?
Yeah.
You don't have a beard. I have a beard. But we get a beautiful opportunity not only to be here with Mama Bear,
Yeah.
which is exciting because we love to see her in person, but we also get to introduce and have a conversation with Pastor Yuriy. So this is, dude, it's going to be a great conversation. We want to know who you are, where you came from, because you and I know we're not from here, and what your mission is with your church, and where you see it going.
That's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, hey,
Lots to talk about.
we got it, brother.
Yeah, it depends on how much time we have.
We got time. Wow.
Okay.
School lets out at 3.
Oh,
Oh
all right.
my. Okay.
All right.
Hey.
All right.
Lock in, Mom.
Woo.
So, yeah, my name is Yuri, and currently I'm a pastor in Living Waters Fellowship, which is a Pentecostal church in Two Harbors on the North Shore. It's a wonderful community. It's a great place, and I can't explain how grateful I am to God for allowing me to be here and to do what I'm doing. And it is challenging.
Mhm.
It's a small church. It has its issues,
Mhm.
but it is a beautiful church.
Yeah.
And I believe that God has plans for this church, this particular church. And as we know, God is building his church.
Mhm.
Jesus says, I will build my church,
Amen.
and the gates of hell will not prevail. So he is doing this. I'm just his co-worker, whatever, the guy he pulled into this process to accomplish this mission. And yeah, I've been here for almost 2 years. In July is going to be 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and the church has changed.
Yep.
It will change more.
Good.
Positive changes. I
Positive.
can testify to the positive
Positive.
changes.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, she gets to do music over there. That's
Yes.
that's something.
And it is wonderful.
And that has been wonderful for the whole community.
It
But
is.
so you and I met probably about a year and a half-ish ago, right?
Kind of,
Not
yeah.
last winter, but the winter before that, I think.
Right.
It was around that time.
Mhm.
And you were really starting to get like kind of credentialed and all of those things. Like you had been credentialed, but then ushered into this place. And to be honest with you, brother, you've got grit.
Yes,
You've
he
got-
does.
If there is one fruit of the spirit you have, long suffering is it. Because I watch you. I've watched you blossom and bloom through this, and it's been an
Mhm.
incredible. You and I had coffee one day, and then we've gotten to interact before.
Yeah, we did.
And honestly, I love what you do, and I love your heart. I love the
Yeah.
fact that you're very devoted to taking this congregation and adding to it. And that's something that's really exciting to see, especially here on the shore, where
Mhm.
I was just telling them off camera that we have 3 congregations within 10 miles that
Yeah.
lost their pastors. They don't have pastors. They're sheep without a shepherd.
Right.
And that's a wild thing that there are those congregations out there. So I'm really grateful that Living Waters didn't have that. And they
Cool.
have a strong leader like you
Thank
that it does feel like you're listening to what you need to be listening to and going in the direction. The one of the things that I realized with you as we talked about your men's ministry, Arctic Men, as we
Mhm.
as I got to know a little bit more about you, I
Mhm.
recognized that you weren't privy to the easy road. That you knew that you knew that you would have to climb the mountain in the dead of snow, in the dead of winter, and you were willing. That was the thing that I noticed about you, is your heart was willing. And sometimes it was dicey water, brother. I felt that. I mean, I had even approached you when we were preaching over at the theater, and I was like, hey, if you need to jump ship, we could start something together. You can pastor it. Let's go. You know, because I'm a wheeler and dealer. I'm moving. I'm like, let's go. How do we get? You know, what is this? These crazy things that we got to deal with. But you stayed faithful, brother, and you stayed consistent.
Consistency.
Your consistency and your ability to be even killed and not make irrational decisions under emotion seems to be something that will guide that church, and I appreciate that about you. I want you to know that. Why don't you give us a little bit of history on you? How'd you get here? How'd you get to this world? How'd you know? I know that Norway's in there. There's all kinds of traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you row across Lake
My
Superior.
homeland.
Norway?
Yeah.
I'm-
Just
I'm-
my grandpa came
homeland
straight
here.
from there.
Just so you know, I'm very far from Norway. much
Really?
further south.
It's just an
Really?
exception.
I'm so surprised.
I look Norwegian, don't I?
Yes. So Norwegian.
Kind of, yeah.
So why don't you tell us, you know, how'd you get into ministry? How'd you get into ministry? How'd you end up in Norway back and then going back home, and all kind of give us your journey, brother.
All right. Well, to start with, let's say that like 5 years ago, I had no idea that there was a town called Two Harbors, the North Shore of Lake Superior, this part of the world. I knew something about the United States.
Yeah.
I've been here before a few times, not in this part, mostly in Texas, but I had no idea about this part. And I heard something about the Great Lakes. I saw them on the map. That was it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I would end up here
Yeah.
eventually. And like 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I just couldn't even imagine that I would end up here and pastoring a church here. Like, no.
Yeah.
And but God is doing His thing. And a simple answer to how did I get here? The simple answer is God.
Right.
It's just 3 letters, G-O-D, and that's it. The longer story is, it has been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go back to the beginning, I came from Norway. From Russia.
Yeah.
With my family, and back in 2022, we arrived in the United States because of the persecution, which is still going on for believers, especially Pentecostal and Baptist believers, and basically all non-Russian Orthodox believers who don't want to comply with the rules and requirements of the government. So we chose to leave the country and not to comply. Back in time, I first met the Lord when I was 20, back in 1995, and before that I was an atheist, like the vast majority of all the Russian people. They may call themselves Russian Orthodox atheists, just most of them.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people, and because I grew up in a communist home, and my father was a Navy officer, and we lived in multiple places because he was a Navy officer. We moved a lot, and there were no churches, no believers, no. Zero information on God, on church, on any spiritual life, and everything we had was a communist agenda and materialistic agenda. Matter is eternal. Matter has been here forever. This is our world. This is what we have. This is what you can touch, what you can see. This is our world. And when you die, your body will just decompose, and that's it. That's our life. And something within me just didn't want to agree with that. And when I was thinking about it, it was just no. And I believe it's everybody in this world when they face this reality of death, the natural reaction is kind of rebellion. Like, no, I'm I'm not here just to die and decompose.
Mm.
I'm not here just to live this short number of years and just die and leave no trace. Even if I make my kids' life better or my grandkids' life better, what's the matter with that? Like, they will die anyways, too. So why even try?
Yep.
And everything in me was just kind of raising against that. No, it's not the case. It's not the point. It's something wrong with that. And when I was growing up, there was even going more and more, and I finally realized that there is a God, a creator, and that fact didn't let me live a peaceful, normal life because, okay, if there is a God and I'm here and there is no relationship between us, there's something wrong with that because if he created me, he must be interested in
Mm.
having fellowship with me as his creation.
Yeah.
What is wrong? And why do I feel that guilt? Why am I feeling guilt when I do this and that? And why is it guilt is just piling up and within me? And what should I do with that? And all those questions they were just raising, and I couldn't find answers again because we didn't have any Bibles, we didn't have any churches, didn't have any believers around, we didn't have anything like here. You can even if you're an atheist and you want to stay away from all the church stuff, you drive down the highway, you see all those billboards, Jesus loves you, or scriptures
Mm.
or testimonies. You turn on the radio in your car, and you every second radio station is a Christian one, and you hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the air. It's everywhere. Churches are all over the place. Like here in Duluth, I was just so amazed. Like churches literally on every corner,
Right.
like on every corner. And we didn't have anything, so I didn't have any place to go to find any answers. So I was just left alone, just figure and guess. What? How do I get out of that situation? How do I
Mm.
deal with my guilt and find this fellowship with that God who created the universe? And it took a while, and finally, God placed me into a hospital. To make the long story short, He placed me into a hospital where I spent good 6 months having serious troubles with my lungs, and He gave me plenty of time, and He just stopped me on my ways because I was all over the place. I was traveling all over the country, Ukraine, Russia, hitchhiking, hiking, camping, fishing,
Mm.
doing leading this kind of lifestyle, and he just stopped me in my ways, placed me on this hospital bed, and I got a book which my bass player gave me earlier uh, about God. It was not a Bible; it was kind of a Russian Orthodox catechism, just a bunch of rules and traditions, but it had a fancy cross in it, like golden fancy cross. And I started reading this book, trying to find um, anything, anything about God. And my roommate and I had 13 roommates in that room in this hospital. He got drunk once, and he like really drunk. That was their habit.
Yeah.
It was 1995 in Russia. It was a hospital, so, everything was possible. So he got really, really drunk, and he came into the room. He grabbed me by the hand. He take this book with you, and he just pulled me into this hallway. And there was a group of people sitting there in the end of that hallway, and they were reading something. And he just brought me there. Show them your book with a cross on it.
Mm.
And I did show them the book. I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
And I said, "You see, he's reading. You gotta read together." And they looked at me like, "Oh, do you want to read the Bible? Because we're reading the Bible here." I said, "Sure." we can get back to your book later if you want. Just let's start with the Bible. I said, sure. That was the very first time I was introduced to the scriptures.
Yeah.
And that guy, he just left. He was barely walking. He was just
Could have been a drunk
along.
angel or
It was
just a
I
vessel.
know,
Just a vessel, anyway, right?
just a vessel. Yeah, God used a dead drunk man just to
His
bring
last
me to
act
that.
as a drunk man, he's like, listen, we're going to start a Bible study.
Yeah, so
That's great.
yeah, and we
That's
started
awesome.
reading the Bible, and that was the very first thing we read that night was Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. If you remember that Paul says
Yeah.
that if you believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, you are saved, and if you confess it with your mouth, you're good. And that was the answer to my question.
Yeah.
So how do I reconcile with God, with that God who created the universe? And it basically said that, okay, it has been done for you.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to work your way to salvation. You don't have to pray your way to salvation or whatever. Because I had all kinds of ideas, like maybe I should go to a monastery or to I don't know. I didn't have the word of God,
Yeah.
so I had all those crazy ideas. I had from books, movies, stories, whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to start with. And here came the scripture, which told me that just let it go. Everything has been done for you.
Yeah.
That was the hard part.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I realized that yes, this is the answer
Uh-huh.
to my question, but I have to deal with my pride
Uh-huh.
because it has been done for me, and I have nothing to do with it. Like I
Right.
need to accept it,
Right.
but I never asked for that.
Right.
I never asked for anybody, including God, to deal with my crap, you know.
Right.
But he had done it,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, okay, so what do I do with that? And I waited and I lingered on in, and uh, later they invited me to their church, which was a Pentecostal church. It was spirit filled. It was not even Pentecostal; it was a very charismatic church,
Yeah.
and it was big. Like it was an abandoned movie theater.
Uh-huh.
The church was just like 2 years old. There was 1,000 people there
Oh, wow.
in the 700-seat room, so I couldn't find a place to sit. I had to stand in the aisle of the service. It was packed, and it was quite a shock because all the people were singing, lifting their hands, and I never expected the church to be a place like that.
Yeah.
Like what I heard about the church is like those priests with black robes and fancy decorations, waving their smoking
smoke.
things and chanting something. That's what I expected the church to be, but not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still, it was very understandable.
Yeah.
Like it broke all the expectations, but it was right on point.
Yeah.
And when the preacher got on the platform, he was very energetic and he was pacing back and forth the platform and preaching. And I look at these guys who brought me there, like, I don't remember sharing my problems with them. We just read the Bible. So who told this guy about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he speaking right to me,
Uh-huh.
straight
So
to me?
cool.
Like, so every word was just reaching my heart. Yes, yeah, this is for me. This is for me. This is the answer. This is again the answer. This is the answer. And when he asked, like, did the altar call,
Uh-huh.
I didn't go because it was like, okay, all those people will be staring at me. Like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't go. And so it took me a couple of days to process that. And that was Sunday. Wednesday morning, I just got up on my bed and just climbed up the mountain, which was right next to the hospital. I said, okay, I need to talk with God. We need to talk about important things. And so I climbed up that mountain and just said, God, I surrender.
Yep.
I surrender. I know that I'm a sinner. I knew that from the beginning. I just didn't know what to do with that. And
Yep.
now I believe that Jesus died for my sin, that I can't handle it on my own. I just I can't do anything with it. So
Yep.
I accept that Jesus died for me, and I believe in this, and I just surrender before. And you know, that was this wonderful feeling. So if you ever went hiking or backpacking, when you hike with a backpack, have a backpack like 10, 15 miles, and then at the end of the trail, you just drop it, you just fly. So that was the feeling I had. And so I climbed that hill with this heavy load on my back, even though it was not there, but it was like was heavy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the moment when I said I surrender, something snapped, something changed dramatically. Like this burden was lifted
Praise
from
the
me,
Lord.
and it was wow. And it took a while for me to say these words because I didn't know, like, where is that God I'm speaking to? Like, is he up there? Is he somewhere here? Which direction should I face? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. It was kind of awkward, but still.
Yeah.
And so I got back to that hospital completely changed. Yeah, guys, I'm forgiven. And Jesus died for me. Although those 13 roommates looked at me. Congratulations, you've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really funny. Your first Bible study introduction by a drunk guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And then and
so great.
so when you so when that weight was just taken from you, you like did you think about like, okay, well, here's the next step. Like there wasn't any linear thought where you were going next. It was just like, okay, well now this is done. Because I know when I finally realized
Mhm.
that God was God. Like you go from this point, and I think that was the reality for you of believing in God
Mhm.
to knowing God, right?
Oh, yeah.
We know
Yeah.
we absolutely now I'm like, oh, this is absolutely, and I know that I did this thing where I'm like, okay, now what do I do with it?
Right.
What do I do with this? Like, and then having that experience has got to be a while. You're going back to all these roommates and you're like, all right, well, I know God's real, and
Mhm.
they're looking at you like a Looney Tune. On
Mhm.
top of the fact that you live in a culture that it's not readily available or acceptable, I'm assuming you really clung to that first initial group of people.
Yes. Well, actually, yeah, this is a great question because it was one of the things which was kind of hindering me from making the decision because I was trying to process, okay, what happens next?
Uh-huh.
If I make the decision, if I surrender with God, if I accept this, that Jesus died for me, and I kind of come to faith, I was thinking before coming to faith, like,
Right.
what happens next?
Right.
So how do I maintain it? How do I maintain this lifestyle? Will it will it just not will it just fade in
Mhm.
a week or in a month, and I will get back to my old lifestyle when all these emotions will go, and or in a year, whatever? Because I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to just follow my emotions and let it fade and just disappear in a period of time. So that bothered me a lot. So
Mhm.
when I finally realized that no, I don't want to get back to my old life, whatever happens.
Mhm.
Like, so I don't know how it is gonna work.
Mhm.
I don't know which steps I will have to take, but I'm gonna just try it now.
Mhm.
So I surrender to God, and then yeah, of course there's been a process still going on,
Oh yeah.
and how God has been transforming me and teaching me stuff because well, of course the initial thing was okay, I'm a sinner, I'm kind of hell bound, I don't want to.
Mhm.
So when I heard that Jesus died for me for my sins, that was okay, I'm not going to hell. So
Mm.
that's a good thing.
Mhm.
But then, is that it?
Mhm.
Is
Right.
it where we stop? Is it where is it is it really what I want? Just not to go to hell, or
Mhm.
is there anything bigger than that?
Mhm.
Mm.
And of course, when we we kept reading the Bible each night, and of course, all these stories about God's love, about how God the Father loves us, that Jesus didn't just die for our sins, he opened the way for us to the Father. He he gave us this right and privilege to be his sons and daughters. And I was like, okay, that means something.
Mhm.
And there were so many other things, like when Jesus says, if you don't love me, you're not worthy. Like, you're not, like, my goodness, do I love him? Like, I don't feel this affection. I don't feel
Mhm.
this, this passion or whatever. Yeah, I'm kind of grateful that he
Mhm.
saved me, but I don't feel this, love.
Yeah.
And I started praying, okay, God, what do I do with that?
Right.
Like, where do I get this love?
Yeah.
And he answered just like that.
Mm.
And he just started showing me, first of all, the scriptures. So what it means to love God, what it means to love Jesus, what it means to follow him. And like, okay, so that is kind of coming along. And so he's been teaching me. And then, when I started to apply these scriptures in my life, and these scriptures, they have actually nothing to do with the emotions,
Mhm.
right? If you love me, you obey my commandments.
Mhm.
There's nothing about affection, emotions, or anything.
Obedience.
Yeah, obedience. And but when I started doing that, those emotions, they followed.
Mhm.
This affection, it followed.
Mhm.
And that's a wonderful thing. And yeah, of course, I had no idea where this path would take me
Mhm.
eventually. And of course, from the very first days of reading the Bible, it was becoming clear that this is the way which the world does not appreciate.
Mhm.
So there is a gap between you and the world.
Yep.
And I experienced that right away when I got back to that room and told those guys, like, you've been brainwashed. Boom, right away,
Mhm.
day one. And when I finally got out of the hospital, and I took a train to go to see my mother and my brother, who lived in St. Petersburg, Russia. It was 1,000 miles south from where I was. Uh, I was anticipating this moment when we would sit together and I would share, because they had millions of questions. What happened to you? Why did you spend so much time in the hospital? What was going on with you? And all that stuff. We didn't have cell phones and internet. That was 95.
Mhm.
Um, so I was anticipating that we will sit around the table and talk, and I would share my faith with them, and they will say, like, "Oh my goodness, that's what we need. That's so easy. Jesus died for my sins. Great." And I was entertaining those thoughts, and finally, when I made it there, and we sat around the table, and we started this conversation, and they asked this question: "So, what happened to you?" And said, "This is what happened.
Uh-huh.
I was a sinner. Jesus, but the Bible tells us that Jesus died for our sins, died for my sins, for your sins." And they were sitting there across the table, like,
This guy's brainwashed.
we're gonna beat this crap out of you. Like, you've been brainwashed. Like, really? Ah,
Not to laugh at your pain, but it is quite interesting when you're like, the people that you think love you the most, and they do, they don't share the value of what he's done in your life and
mhm.
what he did for them. I think that you can understand this, and I felt this lately a lot, actually. My heart genuinely breaks when I see people that it doesn't click. They can
Yeah.
have all the historical references for Jesus. They can have all of the
Mhm.
they can have interactions with God himself, and
Mhm.
they just don't, something just doesn't happen. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And I think that you probably understand as a pastor that you've now encountered that quite a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even though it is hard with family, especially people that you really love,
Sure.
because you look at them, and I know I look at my family in New Mexico, where I'm from, and I'm like, we're raised Catholic, right? Like,
Mhm.
so we have these deep ritualistic beliefs
Right.
about God and who God is, but there's a disconnect on he's my father. He's my
Yeah.
one of the things that we've even been changing in my family is I call God dad. I'm like,
Mm.
Dad, like I want to be like you. I want to walk like you. I want to move like you, because I made it personal.
Yeah.
And when somebody, I think, that you love kind of just like, it's your problem, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and whether this happened to you or not, I think that this is, you feel like, oh, wait, how, like, why don't you and I feel the same about this? Like,
Right.
why don't you understand what I understand?
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, you can understand it from theory, but it's not
Mhm.
real to you. He's not real to you. And
Mhm.
clearly God was making himself real to you. Jesus was making himself real to you. And then
Yeah.
it was very evident that you were being transformed by the word because you were diving into the word.
Right.
So after
Yeah.
that, I mean, your family.
Can I inject something?
Yeah, do
Just
it.
for a moment.
Do it.
When you were talking, Pastor, the scripture came to me, and it's Luke 14:26. It says, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother
Mm.
and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes,
Mhm.
and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And the understanding and the translation here isn't that we actually hate our families. It's that we love him more than our families.
Yeah.
And in these moments, these real moments where you thought they were going to respond, yeah, I mean, you were like, this is going to be my opportunity. And in that moment, when you realized, oh, you actually, in that moment, had a choice to make
Mhm.
right there. And I think that was setting you up for future ministry, because it was not an easy decision. It couldn't have been an easy decision. And so I wanted to just go down that for a minute before we move on.
Mhm.
You know, in that process, do you really feel like these things that you've gone through have positively influenced you for ministry and helping people to make hard decisions when
Yeah.
they're going against loved ones and friends, and you have to
Mhm.
leave those that are not of good influence? I mean, I can only imagine in my life, I have my own testimony, but I really believe that I see God's divine hand in this for
Mhm.
you as a pastor now in that moment, making that decision. Did you feel like you had to make a decision to continue on or go
Yeah.
silent? Or I'm that deep thinker, and I want to go into your personal thoughts for a moment and your feelings.
Mhm. Yeah. Of course. Of course. It's kind of a turning point, because these are the people I love most.
Yeah.
I know best. And there's a kind of expectation that
Yeah.
they do the same. They kind of understand you and know you and appreciate what's going on with you. And of course, when you just open-heartedly, this is what I got, this is
Yeah.
what I found, look at this treasure, and they just dismiss
It
it
was almost like a
that.
rejection. It had to be
Yeah.
almost feel like rejection.
Yeah, of course, there is a moment of choice. By the way, this scripture is one of the hardest. Like, a lot of people stumble upon this
Yeah,
scripture.
they
Like,
do.
if you don't hate your mother and father, and people just, I don't want to hate my mother and father,
Yeah.
so I just don't want
They
to
just
follow
don't understand.
Christ.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. Yeah, this is what it's not like hating them, feeling this hatred toward them. No, but there are moments when you choose God.
You have to choose him over them.
And of course, I could have chosen to please them and to make them happy at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I went crazy. I was in the hospital. I don't know, whatever. I felt lonely. I felt abandoned, and just
Yeah.
So I just went to that church. So now I'm back to normal.
Right.
Let's dismiss all that God stuff. And
Mhm.
no, and that was hard, of course, because we lived in this tiny bitty apartment. It's just
Yeah.
1-bedroom apartment. 3 of us
Ooh.
live there, and you kind of bump into each other every day. And if you
Mhm.
pray, you don't have really privacy. Praying or reading your Bible, they constantly stumble upon you when reading the Bible or praying or something. Like, oh man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you were almost having to really solidify your faith, choosing him. It wasn't just I choose him. It was my moving forward in this is choosing him daily. And to me, that's every Christian's walk in our society. So I think it's real relatable today in society and what we go through as Christians, because there's so much rejection of Christianity today. Even in America, maybe not to the level of Russia, but here we're facing so much. And I would think this part of your testimony would just be amazing in discipleship and discipling others, because it's not easy. It's not easy to go against the flow.
No.
And rejection is something we do have to almost overcome. So this was all training for what you're doing now. And I look at how I see this as it helped to build you into this consistent man. You got a pretty good, strong backbone there that we've seen. And so I see, wow, God, you really, from the beginning, knowing you a little bit, prepared him. This was his training field, preparing him. Because I'll say this today, a lot of, and I'm going to say it because that's just who I am. I believe a lot of American pastors would not have pushed through like you've pushed through in your journey here since you've been pastoring. And not that Living Waters is a bad church, but it's just, we fight different fights here.
Right.
And you just had this stick-to-itiveness. And I look back to this particular thing and I'm like, look at you, God.
Yep.
You know, all things, and so this is me, the scriptures just keep running through my head that fit. All things work together for the good of those that love him, are called according to his purpose. And we don't look at these rejections and these difficulties and these challenges always as a positive. But I see them being, even though it was I can't even imagine the difficulty and the challenge, but how positive and how this was such a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Back then I mean, Two Harbors needed you to go through that.
Yes.
Honestly, I think it's amazing. I really do.
But it's only by God's grace, because I literally had nothing to hold except the Bible and prayer, and there was nothing like.
Yeah, it was it seems like a desolate place, and actually, you literally led into exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that as you were telling this, I recognized something that I didn't know before. That from the very beginning, your faith was challenged heavily by people that you cared about. Hence why it made your long suffering so much easier. Not that it was easy, right? Not that it was easy going through all of the stuff that you had to go through to get here, but it was very evident that you have been, you're battle tested, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're battle tested. That is tried and true. And that speaks to, I think when you go through battle, you recognize another warrior. And for me, that's one of the things that I fell in love with about you right away is I noticed that you have the push, not the push. The push has limiting, but you have the pull. That what God is pulling you to, there's unlimited energy there. That he's directing you to clearly be a minister of the gospel, which is an amazing thing. But you're not going to take the easy path because you're not privy to it. And if you're anything, if you and I are similar in any way, we actually kind of get weirded out when things go easy. Because I know I do. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a trap. You know,
and that's what we see on the other side of that difficulty is it's that stick-to-itiveness and the smile. Seriously, behind it, and it's authentic. And this is the cool thing. So this is the part of me that I know I probably should have just stayed quiet, but I'm standing behind Pastor Yuriy a lot of this time going, let me at him. Like, and he's standing there smiling. It's going to be all right. And I'm like, I've never wanted to throat chop some. I mean, I'm just saying, kick him in the knees. Let's deal. And this is just the reality, the authentic. And I'm trusting they're probably not going to like me anymore. But here's the deal. But that's me. I'm the fighter. I'm the one that pushed through. And that's how I've pushed through in ministry is you go. But then that protector in me, just like God called me here to support, and I'm going to support this guy. And so I'm like back there and he's like, And it was an unspoken thing, you know, and he would just smile like that. And I'm like, all right, he's saying, settle down. Just let me handle this. Let God handle it. And the quiet resilience and just the trust in God, the faith. But that grows in adversity.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool that God has really, really done some cool developing and maturing in those kind of ways that maybe some of us here in America never have had to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I see, that's like boot camp,
Yeah.
Yeah,
really, that's
right,
how I see it.
It's,
Major boot camp,
like
like
boot
years
camp.
of boot camp
mhm.
and battleground experience that
Yeah.
was needed for such a time as this. It's just amazing to me.
Well, now,
Right.
now I recognize that not only were you dealing with the adversity and like the growth through living waters, but you had to hold back the bulldog mama.
I got
And-
that little underbite like my dog.
And I think that's why her and I we match, because I'm like, let's go. I'm let's handle this. We're gonna take it out to the
That's-
streets and beef it out.
Yeah, that's me as well. But kind of God has been teaching me new
Yeah.
things here.
Yeah.
Like the things which I've never had before.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Well-
sometimes I'm kind of surprised to find something within me which I'm like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
I'd like to say this too. I'm not dogging on Living Waters either. Every church that has had a pastor for 30 plus years, right, is going to go through challenges of
Yeah.
growth
Yeah,
and
yes,
change.
yeah,
And
That's just
so-
inevitable.
So usually a lot of denominations don't even have a pastor come right in. They just have a transitional pastor for like a year to get them used to somebody else. And then they bring a new one in. And so you were like all in one package. And so I don't want to come across like I'm dogging Living Waters. They're slowly coming along with it, but it takes time to change after 30 years.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I just wanted to do a little disclaimer. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want people to
it's
hate
a
me,
wonderful
but
church, yeah, and yeah, I had to combine this transitional pastor
Yeah.
for 1 year, and then the real one for almost 1 more year, and yeah, it's a challenge. Yes,
Yeah.
it's hard, but it's a wonderful church,
yeah.
and God has a lot for this church in the future and
Oh, yeah.
now. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
so grateful.
that's definitely true. I mean, when I first was introduced to you, my heart just sang for you, bro. Like, because I was like, oh, he's wherever he's gonna go, God is anointing his steps, and I'm really excited about that. But what I want to know is like, okay, so you go from this point where you're being rejected by your own family, called, this small apartment. They're like, hey, what are you doing praying, weirdo?
Mhm, mhm.
But how does somebody like that end up, you know what? I like being beaten up a little bit. I'm going to pastor, like how do you make that
Okay.
decision? Cause I'm going to tell you, I went the opposite. I was like, oh no, this is terrible. I don't want any of this. I always go back to James and, hey, don't want to be a leader,
Right.
because
Yeah.
there's responsibility. The second they said responsibility, I said, wrap it up. I'm out.
That
know?
verse sounds in my head every single day.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
something that eats at me. I'm like, hey,
Right.
there's responsibility. Like,
Yeah.
when we started all of this, and as naturally we've kind of grown
Mhm.
from, for myself, where we started at a bar, then we went to the theater,
Mhm.
then we've grown to this, and the platform keeps growing. The thing that I recognize is responsibility.
Oh yeah.
There's a massive responsibility, but how does somebody that goes from rejection from the people he loves to saying,
Mhm.
you know what, I'm going to take the responsibility on?
Well, it's been a way. It's
Yeah.
been
Oh, sure.
a kind of a journey because, well, when I was leaving that city where I was saved and baptized in the Spirit, and went back to my family, St. Petersburg, I just asked them, like, I'm going to St. Petersburg. Would you send me somewhere, because I understand I need a church.
Mhm.
And they gave me an address, so I came to that church, and that was a huge church. It was like
Yeah.
2,000 something people. It was right downtown St. Petersburg in a huge building, and massive like concert hall. And it was a fairly new, young church, like maybe 5 years old. And I very quickly I became a part of that church, and because that church was kind of appealing to me, because it was originally, it was not a church at all. It was just a heavy metal band. And back in the 80s, when a bunch of Baptist believers, they just got together, and but they happened to be musicians and heavy metal
Mm-hmm.
bound musicians, and they recorded back in 1982. They recorded a heavy metal album, which was super pure Christian album, which was absolutely rare thing, like impossible thing for that time and for that place. Like all these three dimensions met, like Soviet Union, Christianity, and heavy metal, culture. It's just they
And
repel each other.
Yeah.
Baptist and heavy metal in the
No.
same sentence just doesn't even happen.
No. So of course they were expelled from their church. Of course they ended up in jail, and because
Wow.
from the church because of their heavy metal music, and jail because of their message. So they
That's
ended up in
something.
jail, and Margaret Thatcher, that she had to actually to talk to Gorbachev so they would be released from prison back in '87, I guess.
Wow, for real.
Yeah, and because
That's
there
some
were changes
history.
going on, and she just pointedly still have these guys in prison, like for their faith. Like, okay.
Wow.
And so they were released. One of them moved to England, and the others they stayed, and they kind of had this hippie metalhead community around them, and they were playing music, they were hanging out, and when some missionaries came from America, of course, they just looked at them and said, "Okay, guys, you're our church, and you're the pastor." They pointed at the bass player, and so, okay, and that's how that church started. And of course, it was all about that. So when I came there, it was huge portal speakers, like a lot of sound, great musicians, absolutely wonderful worship, and powerful message. And I just got involved right just like that. I started playing drums very soon because I used to play drums in my punk rock band before, and I got involved in the church life very, very quickly, and eventually became kind of a small group leader, and then I met my wife in '97, and we got married in '98, and the church was multiplying. Very soon I had 3 small groups instead of 1 because they were multiplying. Then I was appointed to be a youth pastor. I didn't last long because very soon after that I heard a call from God that you got to go on a mission. And the mission was to reach out the unreached people's groups, as always. And the only difference was that my unreached people's groups were not some indigenous peoples in the islands somewhere. It was Russian Navy, which was
Wow.
totally unreached. Was zero work going on there. So, since the Iron Curtain fell and missionaries started coming to Russia from America, from Europe, mostly they were coming to major cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, maybe like bigger cities in the rest of the country like Murmansk, where I was saved. But all those small places, remote places, and restricted places where not even Russian citizens could travel, they were totally unreached. And that people's group was totally pagan. Like, they had zero understanding, knowledge, or source for knowledge about Christ's salvation, God's love, and everything. And that became my goal. And I shared that with my pastor. And he said, "Okay, that sounds good, but yeah, first go to Murmansk, which is the biggest city of the area, plant a church there. We will help you with that, and you will move from there, because the naval bases there scattered along the coast of the Barents Sea, not so far from Murmansk." And okay, that's what my pastor said. Sounds fair, sounds reasonable. And okay, let's do it. And I spent 2 years preparing,
Mhm.
But preparing, as I see now, here and now, how the preparation process looks like in AG, when
Mhm.
you come to the office, say, okay, I want to be a missionary. Say, okay, let's help you with that, and just start this process of preparation. Nobody had a clue in Russia
Mm.
how to teach someone to be a missionary.
Yeah.
So the preparation process was basically uh, some Bible schools and selling our apartment. That was it. So when the apartment was finally sold, we were good to go because we
Uh-huh.
had a bunch of money and and it was another big story because when we were going, we had a service in church, and everybody, like the church was still big, and it was kind of shrinking, but it was still big. And a lot of families, individuals, they came to me and to my wife and said, "Okay, we're gonna come to your place when you're ready to start this church plant work. So we will stay with you for 2 months. We'll stay with you for a month. We will stay with you for 2 weeks or whatever."
Mhm.
And there was quite a bunch of people, like, I don't know, 50 people who were willing and expressed their decision to come there and to do this church plan and then go. So I thought, okay, we're good. So we moved up north. I found a place to meet. There was a kind of a band shell outside and with a high riser around. We didn't even have to do the advertising or anything. And I emailed my pastor, said, okay, everything's ready. I signed a contract, which was free with the mayor of this city. So we have this band shell for free with electricity, with everything for 2 months
Wow.
to use it every day uh, from the end of July to the middle of September. We can do that. He said, wait, we we have to deal with something. Give me a week. All right. In a week, I emailed him again. So what's going on? Let's do it because time is flying. I said, give me one more week. Then he gave me one more week, and then it was closer to September, and it's 70th parallel. It's not like 47th here. It's real north.
Mhm.
In September, it goes really nasty. You don't just do anything in the
Outdoors.
band shell.
Yeah.
And he finally told me, like, okay, our goals have changed, so we're not coming. None of us is coming, and they just abandoned us. And do whatever you think is appropriate. So if God is sending you somewhere, do it. So we're out.
Wow.
And that was tough. Yeah, that was um, very frustrating, and we were processing for a while, like, what are we doing now? And finally, I heard from God. Okay, what was the original
Mission.
mission?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Go for it.
Church hurt.
Yeah.
Church hurt.
Right.
First church hurt. So now we're going into a whole new level of training
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
and endurance.
That was painful. Yeah.
Painful. More rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And that crosses all boundaries. That doesn't. It's not just United. It's everywhere that you deal with
It's
church
everywhere.
hurt.
It's a universal problem. It's
Yeah.
not just
Universal. Yep.
Yeah, and so we just focused on this original mission, and I started trying to find the ways how to reach those restricted towns and get there. That's a long story, very adventurous. Probably I'll write a book about it someday.
Dude, listen. I don't read anything, just so you know.
But we might
But
read yours.
but dude, I would read it. I would read it because I'm enthralled. I'm like, all right, yeah. What
What
happened
an
next?
adventure, huh? What
Because
a journey.
all I imagine, just so you know, all I imagine is I see you on social media and stuff, and I see you with your backpack and you traveling all over the place. I see you like. I just had in my head that you were sneaking into these reserved or these places that and
That's
you're
what
like,
I did.
like I'm imagining that, and I'm like, oh, dude, that's grit right there,
Yeah.
and that's and that comes down to the conviction and the true knowledge that God was with you,
Yeah.
because you've met your wife, you guys are a young couple, like, hey, we're going to move, we're going to be supported by the church, we're not supported, like there's so much that went into that.
Mhm.
And I know for me, I feel the responsibility, going back to the responsibility piece of making decisions
Yeah.
that not only honor God, but keep my family safe
Right.
and those things. And like, dude, that's a treacherous road.
Yeah.
That's really a treacherous road. So I wanna fast forward a little bit.
Mhm.
How'd you end up in Norway?
Okay.
I want to travel this path of Norway to here to what we've got going on at Living Waters.
All right. It will take a bit
Go for it.
to get there. So when we started this mission for the Navy, it worked. So God actually opened doors, and we started working. I had Bible studies, meetings, services with the sailors, with the crew, with the officers, and then I met with. We work and still on this free flight with no church. Still, we were looking for a church because I've always been a church guy. Like, I didn't like the situation that I was not without a church. I was just not taught what to do in this situation when you were abandoned by your church. Like, what do I do now? So eventually, we found a church which was friendly, and they were willing to help in any ways. Like, and they were providing resources like people, like, why are you going there alone? Like, here are some guys, they can play the guitar, they can share their testimonies. Here's a guy with a car when my car broke. So they were so helpful. And eventually we kind of became members of that church, and became friends with the pastor and his family, got really close with them. It was so fast. It was just months, and we were really good friends. And we were doing a lot, and we were doing more and more and more. Still, this guy, the pastor, he was kind of moody, gloomy guy, and I thought that was kind of part of his personality. And even though I thought that we were friends, it was really hard to find contact. And but my wife and his wife, they really became good friends. And eventually, probably 1 or 2 years into this friendship, he was exposed. Like, he had an affair for a number of years with a girl in the church, and that was bad. The church split into, a lot of people left the church at all. Some people went to another church. Some people started a new church. And for me, that was a very difficult experience, because I saw that I was in a very similar situation, because, like, in the way that this guy, he had nobody who knew him, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, nobody had a right to ask hard questions to him. Nobody had this access to his heart or soul. Like, nobody could sit around the fire or a table or whatever and just talk about things as they are. So he was like this lone wolf, lone ranger
Yeah.
in this world doing this ministry, and that happened to be very vulnerable. Like, it ended up so bad, and I look at myself like, okay, I'm in the same position. Like, nobody really knows me. And it's becoming dangerous, because the more you do, the more the more dangerous it is becoming. When the devil hits you, the higher you climb, the more damage you create when you fall. And I was like, okay, what do we do with that? Like, I don't want to leave it like that. And in 2010, we started, me and some other guys of who was left of that church, we decided that we start kind of men's ministry. So men's ministry is kind of awkward word for that, but we decided that we would get together, we would talk about things, we would try to build relationships, and just to be open to each other, and to build kind of accountability. to each other that we would know each other. The problem was that nobody knew how that would work.
Yeah.
And we spent a good year just meeting some guys in apartment, just getting together. Everybody faithfully showed up. We would have some tea with something, or read the Bible. We talk about superficial things like family, job, whatever, fishing. And we all knew that we were here for a totally different thing,
Uh-huh.
but nobody dared to ask deeper questions, and or just, they just scoop that from the surface and just get deeper.
Get deep.
And nobody knew how to do that, and including myself.
Mhm.
And until in April 2011, I was it's a really cool long story how it all happened. But I came to Lake Baikal, which is in Siberia, Russia, and there was that guy who was doing that men's ministry for a number of years, and he was using the same principles that I was trying to apply. And how we met, another long story. So I ended up there. I participated in his camp, and I just got that experience. And I came back in summer 2011. We had our own first camp out in tundra in the middle of nowhere. No cell service, nothing. Long hike with the packs. Camped on the shore of a beautiful lake. Nothing around, and it just happened there.
Yeah.
So just it dramatically changed the way of things, and the guys open, and yeah, we had some nice message. We had some, some good message for the guys.
Yeah.
We had some good time just fishing, hiking, and having some good time. But we had this wonderful time of vulnerability when we asked the right questions. Me and some other guys who were in the team, and it didn't take long. They were kind of waiting for that. So everybody just opened up. It was a big prayer. Everybody was praying for everybody. Everybody was confessing their things like, okay, I had an addiction, like I had a pornography addiction. I had this affair. I had this and this and that and that. And I was like, oh wow, and it all just started rolling. And since that, we started planting men's fellowships in the churches in that area in different towns. Me and some guys from my team. And eventually, by 2013, we were done. So we had men's fellowships in every place. And then we just looked across I was looking at the map, and there was a border on the west, and there were other places there as well. And they were not that far. And so we took a trip there. It was, again, long story how we got there first, and it always happened with my wife and my family. Would go there for fun, and then it happens that we ended up doing the ministry there. So that happened with Norway.
Yeah.
So we took a trip to Norway across the border, and something really happened there with me when I first saw that town across the fjord. When I first saw this, and just Spirit of God just came upon me, I was literally in tears. And God is definitely doing something here. So a few months later, I brought a group of guys from Russia there, and we had a trip, hiking trip across that peninsula. And during that trip, we met a lot of people. In the church, we stayed in the church. We met some people around the church. I preached in that church, and they wanted something for them. So a few months later, we had an international men's kind of conference in that place. There were Norwegians and Finns and Russians and Americans and Germans. And it went so great. It exceeded all my expectations or anything. We just got together, got in that room. Somebody opened the mouth, and just poof, and God just
Took
started moving. He just, okay, I had a program, but it just went where God took it. It was wonderful. So after that conference, the local Norwegian guys, they just asked this question, like, okay, that was really cool. So what's next? And I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know what was next. Like, okay, we just wanted to do this and go back home. And but this question remained. And when I got back home, I talked with my guys, and like, what do you think if we just go there once a month or so, just to start a men's fellowship as we did in Russia? And I said, okay, sounds good. And I reached out to the pastor of that church. Said, okay, we are ready to come there and to start men's fellowship in your church if you don't mind. I said, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. So we started. I think it was December 2013 when it first came,
Mm-hmm.
and every month we're traveling there, doing men's meeting, doing church on Sunday, and finally when that pastor, we became friends with him. He had no issues. He was great, and when we came next time, I think it was 2016 or 17, I don't remember. And we were praying about our next steps because it was time when the situation was changing in Russia dramatically, and I lost access to the Navy, and my mission was kind of accomplished. I was praying for, okay, God, where's your next destination? And we came to see that church and the pastor, and we're having lunch, and they said, by the way, we are moving out of here because we're kind of sick and tired with that north. And if you consider coming here and being a pastor
Mm-hmm.
of this church, because I knew the church knew me. We've had a like 3-4 years relationship history by that time,
Mm-hmm.
and the elders, they didn't mind. They were pretty good with that. And but my wife was pregnant
Mm-hmm.
at that time. I crashed my truck and my only vehicle, and a lot of stuff was going on, and I was really slow to let the current thing go. I thought maybe I should push a little bit harder now. Maybe I should just maybe just temporary. Maybe I just get access again. And God said, no.
You're done.
But it took a while. It took at least a year for us to kind of get over it. And finally, when I understood that that is the last moment, I just called the elders in that church. And okay, are you still ready for us there? I said, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we just got our stuff together and we hitchhiked there because my truck was still broken, like it was a pile of metal.
Yeah.
And we hitchhiked there, and since that we spent 2 years. I was pastoring that church, which was very challenging. It was very difficult place, very difficult church. If you think North Shore of Lake Superior is a rocky ground, you gotta visit that part
It's
of
sand,
Norway.
huh?
Yeah, that is challenging. That is difficult. There's so many issues there.
Yep.
They still don't have a pastor since I left.
Got it.
So, um, and yeah, we spent 2 years there working with this church and doing a lot of stuff, and I loved it, and I still love it. And but somehow God closed the doors there, which are still closed for me.
Yep.
It reminds me of Paul willing to go to Spain or to Rome. Like, I've been wanting to go to visit you
Yeah.
guys there, but God didn't let me. That's what was going
Yeah.
on. God is keeping those doors closed, probably not probably for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we got back to Russia in May 2020, in the middle of COVID. It's another adventure how we did it, and my purpose was just to get my master's, because that was the Norwegian government's requirement to get to a master's degree in order to get religious
Really?
visa. Yeah, and I was determined. Yeah, I want to get my master's, and I just threw myself into this master's program. I was just doing that, and I was studying Greek. I was studying Hebrew. I was studying theology, all that stuff. I never thought, but I enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
I never thought I would. Because like who cares? Like who cares about that theology? That is but it was surprisingly super cool.
Yeah.
Like absolutely wonderful. So I was like, thank you, Norwegian government, that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I started at the same time I started my own business, kind of outfitters business.
Uh,
And because of the COVID, all the people who had money, they started traveling within the country, and we had a wonderful destination. It was the only place where you could reach the Arctic Ocean on a car, in entire country. Which like, wow, we have some
wow, yeah.
exclusive thing here, and we used it. I got a partner. We both have. My truck was fixed by then, and my partner bought an off-road vehicle as well, and we just the very first day our advertisement was published, we just had tons of people like booked
nice.
and made pretty much money. We were investing a lot into gear and new stuff, and it was growing. And I was doing the thing I loved. And the first time I did it, I just didn't. I felt so awkward that they were paying me for that because that was the thing I did for years for free,
Yeah.
and now they were paying me money. Like okay, and I was studying. I was doing this business. I was studying. It went so well. I was like okay, just in 2 years from now, in a year from now, in half a year, I will get back to Norway. As soon as I get my master's, I will reapply. But it never happened because Putin started the war. Yeah, and it was kind of awkward and dangerous to be a Pentecostal believer in Russia even before that.
Yeah.
But as soon as he started the war, danger just skyrocketed because, well, first of all, I was Ukraine born,
Mhm.
Pentecostal, with a number of detentions in the past because of my Pentecostal faith and because of the things I did in the Navy, because I had access to basically every surface ship in the North Fleet, and so I was kind of an agent of American influence in Russian Navy, which was unthinkable. Like
Right.
it is, which placed me in a very vulnerable position, and so we very soon we decided that no, we are leaving the country, and it took, and we kind of we realized that we are leaving the country forever.
Uh-huh.
The only problem was we didn't know where.
Right.
So we just crossed the border. We ended up in Turkey, and just we were sitting there in Turkey and trying to figure, like, okay, where are we going now? And of course, there were a couple of options, and all of them were kind of impossible. Uh, but finally, still, since I had a lot of friends in the United States, and I was a part of American Mission Organization for years, they reached out to me, the guys I worked with, like, you got to be leaving the country. This is becoming dangerous. Like, yeah, we are on our way, and they really they helped us a lot to make first of all make up our minds. So yeah, we got to go to America, and how actually to get here in every stage of this journey. It was quite a journey, and so yeah, we ended up in Texas.
Oh, the great country of Texas,
The
baby.
great country in Texas, yes. And staying on our friend's ranch, which was a kind of small country. size, and rolled the map of the United States in front of us, and that was that rare moment. You know, some people even dream about that when you can start from scratch
Yeah.
anywhere you like. And we had this map of the United States. Okay, where do you want to go?
Yep.
Where do you want to settle? And of course, my first thought was, okay, let's go to Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
this is pretty close.
Yeah.
Weather-wise.
weather, kind of, yeah. But yeah, it didn't happen. And finally, we agreed that yeah, we'll go to Minneapolis because my wife had a friend there who lived there, and she was pretty much happy because the school was good and the climate was kind of friendlier than in the rest of the country. And okay, let's go. And
the frigid cold is friendly. That was the friendly part, or was she talking
I
about
think
that?
a different climate,
Oh,
maybe.
oh,
Yeah.
the political climate. The
no, I
oh.
mean, yeah. First of all, for me, the real climate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because you don't
made
want to live in a
difference.
desert.
Because
don't want a
no,
Texas?
of course, in
No
Texas,
Texas?
when we stayed in Texas in January, we stayed there all January, and it was very nice. It was in 60s and 70s, sometimes closer to 80s. It was nice, and I was thinking, like, okay, it is January.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to try July.
Until July
Yeah,
and
yeah.
August.
There you go.
Yeah, so it was not, of course, an option for us to stay in Texas, even though plenty of good friends, and there were
Yep.
a lot of opportunities to job wise, and but no, and yeah, some people invited me to North Carolina, to California, where they have these big Russian communities, Russian speaking communities, which sounded pretty appealing, but that was not our goal. So we didn't want to move from Russia and end up in a Russian bubble
Sure.
again. So we wanted to become part of the country, actually part of the nation.
Yeah.
And so even though it was kind of easier, it was like, okay, you just come here, you'll get a job, we'll get you a house, we have a big church, you'll be busy in the ministry, like everything will be fine. You're like, oh wow, that sounds really inviting, but no.
If the one key takeaway, well, I have two takeaways that I've taken from your story.
Mhm.
One takeaway, dude, you got trust in God.
Yeah.
The other one is, again, I'm gonna point back. The easy road, I don't think Yuri likes the easy road.
That's not my way. No.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
Your way is like, okay, I want to take this journey, and it's really beautiful. I many of the audience knows that I'm now on my third marriage. It's really beautiful to see that your wife supported you
Mhm.
through all of that. Your guys' family moving. I mean, that takes a strong leader, brother, and I really think that is definitely you. And like getting to hear a more intimate part of your story now,
Mhm.
it just really it sheds a lot of light as to why you are the way you are, as far as your persistence or as far as your
Yeah.
convictions are concerned. And really it shaped you as a pastor and ultimately a servant. I see that servant's heart. I see your call to go where God has called you, especially if the road is not easy, because he has made that much of an impact and he is that important to you. So
Yeah.
as we kind of start to bring this home, the one
Mhm.
thing that I want to know is now that you're getting to pastor Living Waters, you know,
Mhm.
you landed here. I remember from talking with you, you actually, when you moved to Minnesota, you were kind of in that Elk River area
Yeah.
and stuff like that, which is funny because when we moved from New Mexico, we moved to Rogers, Minnesota.
Yeah. Pretty
I was the
close.
first. This is going to sound really ridiculous, but we were the first colored kids at the school. It was the year was 2020 or 2005.
Mhm.
It was 2005, and I was walking down the hall of this new high school that was 3 years old, and I hear somebody in the background start to like yell Spanish down the hall,
Hmm.
and I turn and I'm like, "Hey, that's pretty good." And he looks at me and he's confused and he says, they said that there was a New Mexican family here. I said, New Mexico.
New
That's
Mexico.
on this side of the border.
Right.
I
Yeah.
speak English.
It's a state, actually. New Mexico.
And so it was just kind of a strange
Yeah.
thing, but that was one of the things that connected you and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, you kind of actually know that area.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you came here. I've gotten the chance to hear your story about how you were thrusted kind of into this place of being a first that kind of transitionary pastor, now
Mhm.
the pastor. And one of the things that we want to highlight and are curious about is what's Living Waters doing now that they're
Mhm.
under
Oh, yeah.
under your leadership.
Mhm.
Your congregation is growing. Obviously, you guys are having jam
Mhm.
sessions.
Yeah.
I really appreciate online. I follow you online. I now see that you're more active. The
Mhm.
Living Waters is active online, and you're doing really a lot of things as far as the Arctic Men, which is
Mhm.
something that I've loved to see grow. You
Mhm.
got dudes rowing across Lake Superior like a lunatic, but that's true. That's
Yeah.
tried and true to you,
That was
brother.
fun. Yeah.
So, tell us what you guys got going on there, how we
Mhm.
can support, and how we can, just love on you, man.
Mhm. Well, yeah. First of all, if we read the name of the church,
Uh,
it's Living Waters
Right.
Fellowship. Basically, it's kind of self-explanatory thing.
Mhm.
And my goal is to lead the church to this
Mhm.
place where it will be a flow of living waters for the community, for Two Harbors, first of all, for North Shore. Um, well, we're the only spirit-filled church
Mhm.
in Two Harbors,
Mhm.
and but to many spirit-filled churches, this last decade has been maybe two couple of last decades has been very challenging, and it's really hard to actually maintain being spirit-filled.
Mhm.
You know, there are always challenges and stuff going on. You have to uh, function in this world, and this thing kind of goes away eventually. And so, my task, my goal from God is to bring it back to the point where it will be spirit filled, where
Mhm.
the Spirit will be flowing, and these living waters from the throne of God will be flowing. And so, how? So, first of all, as Jesus says, my house will be the house of prayer.
Mhm.
And we even have this board on our wall on top of our platform. This is the house of prayer for many nations. And this is what it is.
Yeah.
I want this church to be a house of prayer. I want everybody to be ignited, like on fire for prayer, not just to put a mark in the box, a check in the box, like prayer done.
Mhm.
I really want us to enjoy prayer, to linger in prayer, linger in worship,
Mhm.
and to be a worshiping church, like be a place of God's presence.
Mhm.
So when you just, we know that the church is not the walls, we know the church is not the building, but I wanted this place to be when you walk through these doors, the Spirit of God would just come upon you. Like it doesn't matter what time, like is it service going on or is it just in the middle of the day and there's nobody there, the Spirit of God would just come upon you. That's what I want. That's what I see where God wants to take this church. There's going to be a place of His presence, of His miracles, of restoration and transformation of lives.
Mhm.
That's, I believe, what God wants to do in this church and through this church.
Mhm.
And of course,
Mhm.
place of freedom, because well, very often it's very easy to succumb to this temptation to just to have all things in order and just
Mhm.
follow the order, follow the tradition, follow the pattern,
Mhm.
and just to feel all right. Okay, my religious duty has been fulfilled.
Yeah. Yep.
I can go home.
Yep.
Everything is great. I don't want that.
Yep.
I want God to do His thing. I want just to surrender it all to Him,
Yep.
and to see Him do His things the way He wants to do His things.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes it's sometimes, probably most of the times, it's very challenging because most of the times we're not ready to see how God is doing things the way He wants to do them, and everything in us like rebels, like no, 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 that's not how we do things.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
But do we want to do things our way or God's way?
Yeah.
That's the point. And of course, it's hard for me as well, just to let it go and to see God at work and to see what He is doing.
I think there's a fine line too that we cross, especially when you're making changes and all those things in a church. You come in and transition and you become the pastor, and there's a fine line between structure and order,
Right.
and traditional religious
Right.
practices.
Exactly.
And that is what I think one of the challenges and one of the things that you're working towards, I see from the outside, you're working towards breaking free of some religious traditions
Yeah.
and practices into that structure and order and balance, but yet freedom of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And there is, in history, in the AG history and the charismatic history, we have a reputation.
Oh yeah.
And so this particular church, and I can say this because I grew up in this is the church I was literally born into. So what I can say is this has a very rich charismatic history. So, and it has come far from, I think, that charismatic history into a lot of ritual tradition and routines that aren't even necessarily AG or charismatic. So you had quite a big challenge at breaking some of that down, or the Lord allowing you to be the vessel to break some of that down. And I was able to, I'm able to try to assist and help in that as far as worship and things. But I, it's funny. It's kind of like, I look at you and it's like you're turning a ship slowly. And if it was me, I would have went, and it probably would have sunk. So you're doing this, you're turning the ship and getting it on course. And I see it as a very beautiful process, but really tedious and slow. But I think with this particular topic of charismatic and bringing it back to a point of spirit filled, and I think I would want to say to this, and because I'm just the one that rips off the can and say, let's just open up that can. We're not just talking, people are spirit filled, but we're talking the gifts of the Spirit flowing in the church.
Right.
Prophecy, word of knowledge, tongues and interpretation, all those things. And that's what I want to be clear that that's what we're talking about here.
Yep.
This is the only church in that area in Two Harbors that should be flowing or is known to be flowing in those things. And so we are seeing that beginning to come to pass. So we want to be that house of a flowing of the gifts of the Spirit, not just spirit, because I think there are spirit-filled churches, and sometimes we get in that Christian lingo. They're like, what do you mean? Don't we all have the Spirit of God? Well, we do all have the Spirit of God, but we want to be a spirit-flowing, moving in the gifts that are for today, and we believe they're for today. And so we want to be that place of His presence and the flowing of His Spirit. So I just wanted to kind of expound on that a little bit, because I think you're doing a good job at turning that ship slowly. Even though I want to yank it, I want to pull it, and that's me. That's the evangelist and the
sometimes you gotta turn this fish tank upside down, and that's what I do sometimes. I've done it a couple of times here. It's when you turn the fish tank upside down, it's a lot of mess. But when all the dust settles, it's beautiful. It's new. It's like everybody is kind of trying to find their spot, and everything is rearranged. And sometimes we do these things as well, of course, because it's necessary. This is kind of part of the process of this slow steering.
Slow ship, but it's looking good. It's getting on course, and I see, and this is kind of how I see it. I see the hope on the horizon, and I see good things happening.
Yep.
And we were talking about the men's ministry that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing, which is amazing. But I want to say kudos to Maria. This woman is a treasure. She's a joy, and she's like a ruby. I mean, she's just a beautiful spirit, beautiful heart, and she does an amazing women's. They're specializing in doing these women's teas, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
have people coming from other churches and other places to be part of this event, and it's been a beautiful thing. And she just has a touch, a knack, and she loves people.
Mhm.
And so when you were saying her support for him, wow. Because I'm a minister of the gospel, I can see myself in your shoes and just going, yank the ship. And then I also was a pastor's wife, and I also see myself as saying, see you later. Call me when this is all done and I'll come back. And I'm just being really authentic and real with you because this has been a big challenge. And I'm sure, I can only imagine that Maria has gone through it, but she has been faithful and prayed through it and consistently been at prayer early in the morning and with you and by your side. And with the children, and even with challenges of language and those things, she does so amazing, and she gives 150%. And I just want to say, a woman, and this, I'm going to look at the cameras. Women, wives, you can make or break a husband in life and in ministry. So one thing I would say as Mama Bear, I guess here I'm talking to the camera now, as Mama Bear, support your husbands, especially when it comes to the home and ministry. If they're trying to serve the Lord in everything they do, support them no matter what. But it takes grit to move forward as a leader in your home and take a stand and not compromise and not take part of what the world wants you to take part of. Even just coarse joking and well accepted pornography and things of that thing in the workforce. Women, they face so many challenges, these men, and so let us be that intercessor, that helpmate. And I spent 30 years next to my husband in ministry, and sometimes I didn't want to support him. It's just, you could ask my son Tim. I was ready to run, wanted to run. I got so sick of looking at those buildings after 30 years. I was like, I'm out. I want to be out. But God kept me, and he held me down, supporting and praying. And so kudos. I just love Maria. Maria, as you can tell, I just really love this woman.
We can't tell.
Yeah, she is.
And the women of our church do. And so it's a duel for anybody in ministry. If I could say, even if your husband is the main one doing the speaking and the preaching, if he was called, you're called.
Yeah, right.
And so whether you like it or not, it's easier to get on board and support and pray through your struggles.
Right.
And reach out to other women in ministry if you feel like you're lacking giving him that support. That's where other women in the body of Christ, and I'm not even saying within the church, because sometimes it's best to go outside the church if you're struggling.
Sure.
And other women in leadership, get that support. It's all about support, isn't it? That's what all perspective is about. Coming together and saying, let's lift you up. Let's help you get this going. Let's do what we can to support your ministry, but also as brothers and sisters in Christ. And so I just thank you guys for being there. And, I've been attending there basically about 1.5 years now or more.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge for me in my life where I'm at.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because of the health issues and different things and caregiving. But I'm thankful for the prayer support that comes this way. And thank you for your faithfulness and just stick-to-itiveness, grit, as Isaac says. God built you for this. Yeah. And he built Maria for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she is doing a great job. Actually, what you mentioned, like, I'm so impressed. I'm amazed, actually, how she's doing because, language is a challenge for her. But she's been faithful to her calling because she has been called to minister to women.
Yeah.
That's what she was doing back in Norway, in Russia for years. And so here, she's been trying to do that too, even though it's kind of challenging for her. So she was initiating these, first of all, this women's Bible study we have on Monday, which was kind of challenging first. Now it's thriving and it's pretty vibrant time. When every time I pass by them, like there's always laughing and talking, this loud discussion, and it's really, oh wow. And I see new women there, new cars parked, and like, wow, that's cool. They started this mom's prayer,
Yes.
which is amazing. So when moms can get together and just pray for their kids, no matter what the age is. And again, it's very uh, very lively. It's very vibrant time. They have really nice time together. And the last thing they did, which he initiated, was that those breakfasts.
Breakfast, yeah.
Like, okay, we have moms, we have younger ladies, we have older ladies, like not older, a little bit more grown up ladies.
Yeah.
And okay, we need to get these together. We need to get those together and those together. We need to help them to get friends, to become friends with each other, and to get to know each other better. So, like a breakfast for younger ladies this day, for moms this day, and like it's all just bubbling and growing, and some new ladies are just joining in, and it's been really cool to see what they're doing there, because sometimes I look at our men's fellowship like, this is steepy, which we build this, and that's what everything was going on, like teepee, steaks, fire, and
I did think
that's
about
it.
staking out your teepee and just sticking my hand and say, "Where's mine?" But the steak. But
Well, the truth is men are much simpler. Give them a hunk of meat.
I was gonna
Yes.
say,
and a
like,
fire.
I'm thinking just steak. Where's the broccoli and
No,
where's
no,
your
man.
salads and
Not-
potatoes?
not even a plate or a fork,
just a
just
steak.
you got a
Yeah.
steak in your hand,
Just
Wow.
right out of the skillet, and just
So literally, when I thought about sticking my hand in, it would have probably been about.
Yep.
Would it? Is
Yeah.
it rare steak too? Is it rare?
it depends.
Depends.
Which part of the skillet it was.
I see you building strong community within the community.
Yeah,
And that is fresh for Two Harbors, Minnesota.
Yeah.
So I want to, before you take over,
Yeah.
I want to say Two Harbors, check out Living Waters.
Yeah.
Amazing, strong community. And it's a fresh start, a new start.
Yeah.
Don't think it is what it was yesteryear. This is a new ministry, a new pastor and wife, and they love community and they love people. I am thankful for Pastor Joseph in the past, but he's retired and he's not here anymore. We have an amazing new pastor, Pastor Yuriy, and his wife, Maria. And if you want something fresh and new and you haven't found what you're looking for in Two Harbors, Minnesota, you know what? Even if you've given it a chance in the past, give it another chance. Give it a try, because I think you'll find love and acceptance and great community there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a good place for us to wrap. I mean, here's the thing is if they listen to your story this long, I would very much so be like, I gotta meet this
Let me
dude
go
in
check it
person.
out.
Wow, it's 2 years.
I gotta meet this dude in person. Bro, I gotta tell you, thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for allowing us in. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting.
Like, bro, I'm telling you that, and this is where our heart is, my heart is, and it sounds like yours is. We're in the kingdom building business. I want to see God's kingdom here. I want it to be thriving. I see the North Shore, to be honest with you, and whether people take offense of this or not, that it's a desolate place, and it's a desolate place. But there is one of the things that I read this morning, and it hit me hard, is that the harvest is ready, but there are not the workers.
Right.
And that is where we are.
Exactly.
And I believe that you are one of those people spearheading it for the kingdom. And I just appreciate you, man. So as you guys have more things that come up that, we want to be able to support you and cross-pollinate and do things together as the entire ecclesia, as we call it, the body, us joining together. So thank you for joining us, bro. Thank you for being vulnerable, talking to us, going through all of the things that you went through to be faithful. I truly see you as a bondservant that loves the Lord And I think that you're going to continue to serve him well and push through things that I would have gave up on a long time ago. But thank you, bro. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting. It's been my pleasure to be here.
Glad you chose Two Harbors, Minnesota.
I didn't.
Off the map. That's amazing.
I didn't. That's the point.
He said Alaska.
right.
didn't.
It chose you.
Yeah, it's because probably it's the most Norwegian place in the United States.
I'm sure it is.
But it's not me.
I know
didn't-
it's in my bloodline. That
I
boy's
didn't know it.
Norwegian over here, so
I'm Norwegian because I know them. I get.
yeah. Well, you're mine. Your mom has to share you, so
Yeah. Cool.